Now, if one of your superiors came to you, well, let me answer the question for you for how I would do it. If one of my superiors came to me and said, look, you gotta prosecute this case, and I looked at it, and either I didn't believe that the defendant was guilty, or I didn't believe I could prove it beyond a reasonable doubt, or I thought it was not in the public interest because it would undermine the integrity of the criminal justice system, I would resign.
You would decline the matter.
Sir?
You would decline the matter for sure.
Right. And if they told me, if my superior said, look, Kennedy, you know, what planet did you just parachute in from? You don't have a choice. I'm your boss. I'm telling you to do it. I would resign. How about you?
In a Senate hearing that cut straight to the heart of American justice, Senator John Kennedy from Louisiana delivered a series of questions that exposed the very core of what keeps our legal system alive: faith in the rule of law. His words weren't wrapped in politics. They were grounded in something deeper: decency, integrity, and courage.
Justice Crain, we elect judges in Louisiana, do we not?
We do.
And we have elected judges, our people have decided to elect judges for a long, long, long time, haven't they?
As long as I can research, yes.
Are you responsible for that system of choosing judges?
Not at all.
When you run for judge, can you solicit campaign contributions?
You cannot.
You've run 3 times.
I have.
Have you ever solicited a campaign contribution?
I have not.
You have to go through a committee, do you not?
That's correct.
Okay. Now, one of my colleagues, not Senator Welch, suggested that you live in the left front pocket of the oil and gas industry. Is that true?
That is absolutely not true, Senator.
Do you live in anybody's left front pocket?
The only pocket I live in is the rule of law, Senator. And I think that my record reflects that.
That's certainly been my experience. I just wanted to clear that up.
Thank you, Senator.
Mr. Duva, you've heard the expression lawfare, have you not?
Yes, sir.
What does that mean to you?
Well, I think lawfare gets to the alleged weaponization of the Justice Department and things.
What does that mean?
Well, it's a term that's been used quite a bit. I think it means that the Justice Department becomes the tool of a sitting president or the Congress or whoever to do its bidding and that only, and not follow the law, not follow the facts as applied to the law. What we will do is not do that. We will do the converse of that.
Why is that dangerous?
Because it leads to bias, it leads to improper prosecution, it leads to messes in courtrooms. There's a reason there's a justice manual. There's a reason that there is Rule 6E.
I don't want to talk about the manual. I want to talk about just basic human decency and common sense.
It also erodes the faith of the justice system and our citizens.
Okay.
That is dangerous because it is based on those citizens where the end result, the citizens become jurors. And we need jurors to have confidence in the Justice Department and the prosecutions that it brings and to fairly evaluate cases.
Let me put it this way. Our judicial branch doesn't have an army, does it?
It does not.
Okay. Our judicial branch at the federal and the state level depends on its legitimacy for enforcement. I mean, people have to believe that justice, even though they may disagree with the result, people have to believe in the integrity of the system, do they not?
They do, because as I mentioned with jurors, if they don't and they're selected on a jury, they're not going to follow the judge's instructions to evaluate the cases based on the facts and the law. So it depends on the citizens to help us with the end result. And if that's eroded on the front end, it's eroded on the back end.
All right, if I'm a candidate for district attorney, is that a principle that you agree with?
100%.
Okay. And you not only have to believe that the defendant is guilty, you have to believe that you can prove it beyond a reasonable doubt, do you not?
You do. You have to have the facts. Without the facts, you have nothing.
Okay. Is that a principle that you possess?
I do, and that's how I've operated for 18 years.
Okay. And you also have to believe, do you not, that the prosecution is in the public interest? Is that correct?
You do.
Okay. Now, if one of your superiors came to you, well, let me answer the question for you for how I would do it. If one of my superiors came to me and said, look, you gotta prosecute this case, and I looked at it, and either I didn't believe that the defendant was guilty, or I didn't believe I could prove it beyond a reasonable doubt, or I thought it was not in the public interest because it would undermine the integrity of the criminal justice system, I would resign.
You would decline the matter.
Sir?
You would decline the matter for sure.
Right. And if they told me, if my superior said, look, Kennedy, you know, what planet did you just parachute in from? You don't have a choice. I'm your boss. I'm telling you to do it. I would resign. How about you?
I have no problem doing that. I would first just say, we're not doing this case, and here's all the reasons, and the discussion could go from there.
Okay. And if you were told to do it or quit, what would you do?
I'd quit.
Okay. Would you ever advise a client not to follow a federal court order?
No, sir.
I appreciate that. Appreciate you not qualifying it. If it's okay to disagree with a federal judge ruling, isn't it?
I often have.
Yep. It's okay to appeal it.
Absolutely. We have an appellate section. It's one of the best sections in the criminal division.
Within the bounds of legal ethics, it's okay to criticize it, isn't it?
Yes, internally.
But you got to follow it, don't you?
You do, absolutely.
Because that's called the rule of law, isn't it?
It is, and without that, you have anarchy and no confidence in the Justice Department.
I appreciate it, and I appreciate the frank answers.
Thank you, sir.
The hearing room was quiet, not the silence of boredom, but the kind that follows when truth is about to walk through the door. Senator John Kennedy leaned forward, that trademark Louisiana drawl steady but sharp. Justice Crain, he began, we elect judges in Louisiana, do we not? A pause, then a calm reply, yes, Senator, we do. Kennedy nodded, and our people have been doing that for a long, long time, haven't they? As long as I can remember, she said. It wasn't small talk, it was a setup, a lesson in civics wrapped in plain English. Kennedy wasn't just asking about elections, he was pointing to something older, accountability, the kind that doesn't come from titles but from trust. He asked if she could solicit campaign contributions while running for judge. She couldn't. Had she ever done it herself? Never. 3 campaigns, 3 clean runs. Then Kennedy leaned back slightly, eyes narrowing just enough to draw attention. One of my colleagues, he said, suggested you live in the left front pocket of the oil and gas industry. Is that true? You could feel the air thicken. The room waited. That is absolutely not true, Senator, Crain replied. Kennedy tilted his head, half a smile forming. Do you live in anybody's pocket? The only pocket I live in, she said, is the rule of law. It wasn't just an answer, it was a declaration, the kind that ends rumors faster than a gavel strike. Kennedy nodded. That's been my experience, he said quietly. Then, turning his attention to the next witness, Mr. Duva, the senator changed tone. You've heard the term LAWFARE, haven't you? Duva, a career prosecutor, nodded. Yes, sir. What does it mean to you? He thought for a moment. Lawfare, he said, is when the justice system stops being neutral, when it's used as a weapon to serve power instead of truth. Kennedy's expression hardened. And why is that dangerous? Duva didn't flinch. Because it destroys faith. When justice becomes political, people stop believing in fairness. And once that happens, no law, no courtroom, no verdict truly matters. Kennedy folded his hands. Our judicial branch doesn't have an army, does it? No, sir. Then what keeps it alive? Duva answered softly, legitimacy. The belief that it's honest, even when people don't like the result. Kennedy nodded again. Exactly. The moment people stop believing in that, the moment justice looks like politics, it's over. That was the heart of it. Justice isn't about who wins, it's about why the system must always be trusted. Then came the kind of question that reveals more than a resume ever could. If one of your superiors ordered you to prosecute someone you didn't believe was guilty, or if the case wasn't strong enough, what would you do? Duva didn't hesitate. I'd refuse. Kennedy raised an eyebrow. And if they told you to do it anyway or quit? I'd quit. There it was. Integrity distilled into 2 words. No legal jargon. No hesitation. Kennedy gave a faint smile. Good answer, he said. Then he fired another one. Would you ever advise a client to ignore a federal court order? No, Senator. It's okay to disagree with a judge, even appeal their decision, isn't it? Of course. That's part of the process. But you still have to follow it. Yes, sir. Because that's called the rule of law, right? It is. Kennedy leaned back in his chair. And without the rule of law, he said slowly, we don't have order, we have anarchy. That's when the hearing changed. It wasn't about partisanship or politics anymore. It became something bigger, a reminder that justice isn't an idea reserved for textbooks. It's a living promise, one that demands fairness even when it's inconvenient. As the session drew to a close, the senator thanked both witnesses, not for their titles, but for their honesty. Because in that moment, beneath the bright lights and the sound of clicking pens, the message was clear. The strength of the justice system doesn't come from power, it comes from principle. And for a few minutes, inside that chamber, principle still had a voice.